Chris Tuttle here. We're in day 2 of the Texas road trip, having a blast. The guys were all about to head out and get something to eat and then hit the gym. But since I'm about 9.5 weeks out for my show, obviously I will not be enjoying any Texas barbecue this time. And I'm going to mention a little bit of the things that I've been eating on this trip and how I traveled with it. I know I've made a previous video before on how to theoretically travel, as in if I was traveling. But now that I did successfully made it, I'm going to go through some of the things that I've done to make it easier, and you guys can learn from it and be safe with your food safety and not miss a beat when you travel and when you're on prep. So first of all, obviously I have a kitchen here. Obviously it makes a way better sense to have a kitchen. It makes things a lot easier, less stressful. So I'm going to start with in the very beginning when I left here. Okay, so the first step really when I left is you got to figure out how much food you're going to need. Now luckily Universal's awesome and they provided a meal service for us, and I got to custom make my meals and order them ahead of time for the remainder of the week. However, I needed food for the day of the travel and the next day because I wasn't sure when we were going to pick up our food. So once you figure out what you need, obviously you want to grill your chicken, you properly cool it, vacuum seal it, and then have a couple meals with you on the plane so you can eat. Not to mention, I mentioned before that you don't want to bring ice packs. I know some people say that you can, but the TSA have thrown them out before. So what I like to do is you get the big Ziploc bags, and this is how you do is you bring these Ziploc bags full of ice to the airport. Once you get to the airport, you dump them out before you go through TSA, and then you refill them and put them back in your cooler on the McDonald's side. You fill up in the ice machine. Now, what you do is I don't recommend checking in your food because your luggage gets lost or it gets banged around. It could break. Who knows how hot it gets in the cabin or if it gets cold where the things are stored. So I recommend 2 things. 2 types of coolers. One cooler you want to bring that you can bring your meals with you. Make them all prepped, because when you're packing food and you're bringing it with you, you can't say to yourself, oh, I need 5 meals both days. That's 10 meals. You make 10 individual meals. Make the meals that you need for that day. And then when you travel, bring the ingredients such as cooked rice, cooked chicken, in individual big Tupperwares. That way it's less space you're gonna take up in your cooler. You'll be able to bring more food. And of course, have enough room for ice in there to keep it cool during travel. Now I had 6 hours of travel and I couldn't have time to get ice. So for that 6 hours, I had to make sure that food was cold enough. As you want to get a cooler like this, pull the insert out. That way you can easily fit in your above carry compartment. It squishes. With a plastic thing in it, you actually sometimes it doesn't fit. So you pull the plastic piece out, and this is how you could pack your meals with your ice in the bags. And obviously you're allowed 2 carry-ons. This will fit underneath your seat. This will fit above. And then check in the rest of your stuff. Now I'll go through exactly kind of what I did. So let's get bags of ice. And this is the version. So I got meals that I prepared. I got chicken anyway, that I prepared for the transit home, for the ride home. So I keep this frozen and I will leave them out 2 days before I leave at room temperature, and that way I have food on the way back. So this is 2 meals, measured, cooked, vacuum sealed, frozen. And when you're doing the packing, I put 1 bag of ice on the bottom, lay it flat. Then I take my frozen chicken top, in the middle. I'll take another layer of ice, flat bag. When you take this and you have the loose bag that comes out of the ice machine, lay it top like this. And then, casualty. And then you take your meals, the other chicken meals, lay them on top. And then 1 more bag of ice. See, obviously in this situation, if these weren't individual meals and this was a large Tupperware, which I did bring, I could fit a hell of a lot in here. Keep the ice on top. Always double, triple bag them because the ice is going to thaw, and you don't want to be sitting there in the airplane. You look over, you see like water drip, drip, dripping out of the overhead compartment. So make sure that's a must, and don't cheap out. Get the really good, thick freezer bags. That way nothing gets pierced, and double and triple bag it. So that's how I travel with the food. You know, the carry-on, make sure it's not out of my sight, and make sure you bring plasticware because they're going to throw out your metal stuff, your knives and stuff. They even threw out my fork one time. So I bring plastic, plastic measuring stuff, and like I said, the bags, vacuum seal, and dump out the ice before you get there. Once you go through, fill it back up, and that's how I travel with my food. And obviously you can see, which is, you know, I like to scout out everything. I like to have a plan for everything. So when I get here, I mapped out there's actually Whole Foods. So believe it or not, since I've been here, I've been eating exactly the same way, same time, same everything as I do at home. I go to the extra yard and I buy one of these, and I actually put this in the cooler above the freezing meat. And believe it or not, for 6 hours, my frozen chicken that I previously froze before I left the airport when I departed stayed frozen, and this was below 30 degrees the entire 6 hours. So it was a success in how I packed it and keeping it cold. Being a dietitian, doing through the Serve Safe exam and knowing food safety, it's kind of like ruined how I view things sometimes. And I just think getting sick over spoiled food is just idiotic and stupid when it can easily be prevented. You can make fun of me all you want, but I don't get sick when it comes to expired food and food that's exposed to too high temperatures. So I went to Whole Foods, picked up a salad, you know, and sometimes you just got to improvise and you got to plan. And this hotel didn't have a big enough salad bowl, so I emptied these out in a Ziploc, and this was my salad bowl every night. I fill this thing halfway up, mix it with my favorite of all time, aged balsamic vinegar. I will put some tomatoes in there. I like to have a variety of colors to get a little nutrients. Yes, yellows, reds, different things contain different nutrients. I like to kind of get a variety of food. I like to try to be as healthy as I can with vegetables and cycling them, making sure you get the most amount of nutrients you can. Because we all know that macros are macros, but getting a variety of the micronutrients are also extremely important. And which is great is like I never buy a pack of 6 eggs, but I mean I'm only here for 6 days and I eat 1 whole egg for breakfast. So this is actually perfect, even though this thing was like $4 at Whole Foods. USDA organic eggs. I got my favorite of all time, Ezekiel 7 sprouted bread. Yes, I brought this on the plane with me just in case I couldn't find it here, because I'm obsessed with this bread. It makes me very happy. Very, very happy. We got good old Teddy's peanut butter, my smooth, my fave. Got the water. I'm going to go over some carbs here real quick that I packed. And the thing, oh yeah, also packing, like I did bring my own peanut butter and bring pretty much everything because you never know what you're going to have availability of, availability not. And I like to be overly prepared and worry about less things when I get there. That way I'm not scrambling and having to make do with my surroundings and things like that. Most of my carbs now, and I'm going to drive all the gluten-free people crazy, all I eat for carbs is Ezekiel bread, cream of wheat, oat bran. Oat bran makes me poop, keeps the bowels moving, got a lot of fiber. It's for my stomach, and obviously you guys know my GI issues. This is just, for me, it's more tolerable than oatmeal. It contains more fiber per serving. I usually will do 2 servings of this, and for my carbs, I'm meal 5, and I just so regular, no distension, no bloating. I don't really get any gas. And cream of wheat, instead of doing the rice, I just do 90 grams of cream of wheat. And sometimes I'll take away 30 grams and add 30 grams of banana in my post-workout, but all my carbs are cream of wheat. Easy to travel too. I mean, look at how many carbs are in this. And I just pack this in my check-in bag because obviously you can find cream of wheat in any store, grocery store where you're traveling. But that's my travel thing, and I'm going to go over a little bit how I traveled with some of the breakables. Remember, you can't travel with liquids, so I had to take these and the Teddy's peanut butter which I also might add is, as you guys know, I'm really into olive oils, infused olive oils that are flavored. And this one is oregano infused. I was doing pesto for a while, but decided to change it up. You take these, make sure you double wrap them in bags in your check-in luggage. And I bubble wrapped it and wrapped it in another Ziploc bag. And I checked that in to make sure I had what I needed and make sure it wasn't going to break all of my clothes. And if it did, it would be caught in the plastic bag. And these are the oils I traveled with. You could easily do nuts as a fat and not bring oils or easily just ditch salad for a week. But you know what? I like to be as consistent as possible. Obviously you guys know I work with Chris Aceto, and the more consistent things are, the more you're able to kind of really figure out what exactly needs to be changed if things are consistent, if things are inconsistent, and you got varying weights or salt or water intake, and meals are slightly off even though they might be fitting your macros, or just consistency. I'm a stickler. I want to be the best I can be come October 10th, and I still want to be able to enjoy this Texas road trip, have fun, do the experience, but consistency, and that's why I try not to miss a single beat. I'm still getting up the same time every day, 4:30, even here, answer my emails, drink coffee, breakfast, and then everything else is exactly on point. So that's my travel advice to you. I brought my supplements as well, and I would say that these are more my travel supplements. I don't take everything with me. I just take what's important, and obviously you can put them in pill cases, which I have here. I got a pill case that I have everything all organized, so that way I don't have to bring as much stuff. But my CLA, I always use it for contest and off season. Glutamine, always, especially during contest time. And also, as people don't know, if the stomach lining, intestinal lining, mucosa gets aggravated, glutamine can actually help heal the mucosa lining in the intestinal tract. And given known that I have diagnosed with ulcerative proctitis, that's actually been helping me a lot. So I've been pretty much symptom free for weeks now. I've got my favorite ISOA, vanilla. It's my fave. It's hard to get away from anything. My Atomic 7. Bring a shaker cup with me. And that's the same thing too. You can't bring water on the plane. So what I'll do is I'll just bring this, fill it up with water, drink it, empty it out before you go through TSA, go on the other side, refill it again. That way you're not bringing so much stuff. But make sure you prioritize what you need and have a plan. Don't try not to have a plan, and don't half-ass shit. If you're in the middle of prep, a whole week being inconsistent and not having a plan could set you back. And in 1 week being clean eating but kind of not being 100%, it could still be a wasted week. And that's pretty much how I travel and how I plan. But it's good to see you guys see the opposite end when I'm already here actually traveling with all my food. So take my advice on packing the foods, figure out where you're going, figure out what's available, and establish a plan. Don't panic, don't freak out, and most importantly, enjoy your vacation, man, because life is very short-lived. I've really been able to find a balance with being able to compete, be the best I can be, and enjoy this. And being in Texas so far is awesome. We did some bungee jumping yesterday, did some rides, did some drag racing, and I'm dieting, but I'm still have a clear mind, still having fun like as I would if I wouldn't worry about anything. Because once everything's in place and you have a plan, you can have fun.